The stars looked different from the bridge of the UES Thunderstrike. Captain Lisa Gray pressed her face against the thick glass window and watched the endless black space around them. 3 months ago, she had been studying alien plant samples in her lab on Mars. Now she was flying toward the first alien signal humanity had ever found. "Captain Gray, we're getting close to the jump point," said Lieutenant Emma Clark from her seat at the communications desk. Her fingers moved quickly over the bright buttons and screens in front of her. "Admiral Morrison wants to see you in his office." Lisa walked through the long metal hallways of the warship. The Thunderstrike was not built for science missions. It was built to fight wars in space. Every wall was covered with thick armor. Every room had weapons controls. Even the lights were red and harsh, making everything look like a battlefield. Admiral Jake Morrison was a tall man with gray hair and cold blue eyes. He had fought in the Mars Rebellion 10 years ago and never smiled. When Lisa entered his office, he was looking at star maps on his computer screen. "Sit down, Captain," he said without looking up. "We need to talk about what happens when we reach the alien system." Lisa sat in the hard metal chair across from his desk. "Sir, I still think we should have brought the Harmony instead of this ship. The Harmony was built for peaceful missions. It has science labs and meeting rooms. This ship only has guns." Morrison finally looked at her. "The decision was made by people much smarter than both of us, Captain. The signal we found was not just a hello message. Our code breakers found military patterns in it. These aliens might be planning to attack Earth. But, sir, we don't know that for sure. The patterns could mean anything. Maybe their music sounds like military codes to us. Maybe their math is different." The Admiral stood up and walked to a large screen on the wall. It showed a picture of the Thunderstrike from outside. The ship was over 2 miles long and covered with weapon systems. Plasma cannons stuck out from every side like the spines of a metal beast. Torpedo tubes lined the front section like the eyes of a giant spider. "Look at this ship, Captain. It took us 50 years to build something this powerful. If these aliens are hostile, this ship might be the only thing that saves humanity. If they are peaceful, then no harm is done." Lisa wanted to argue, but she knew it was pointless. The orders came from Earth itself. The United Earth Coalition had voted to send their most powerful warship to make first contact with an alien race. She wondered what the aliens would think when they saw them coming. "How long until we jump?" she asked. 6 hours. Make sure your science team is ready. We might need to understand their technology very quickly." Lisa left the Admiral's office and walked to the science section of the ship. Dr. Kate Johnson was waiting for her there. Kate was the ship's expert on alien communication. She had spent years learning how to talk to species that might think in completely different ways. "Any luck with the signal?" Lisa asked. Kate shook her head. "It's very complex. Much more complex than anything we can make, but I found something interesting. The signal repeats every 14 hours. It might be coming from their home planet as it spins." "What do you think it says?" "I don't know. It could be anything. A greeting, a warning, a shopping list. We won't know until we get there and try to talk to them." In another part of the ship, Commander Rick Barnes was meeting with his tactical team. Rick was in charge of all the weapons on the ship. He was a short man with thick muscles and scars on his hands from the war on Europa. "Listen up, everyone," he told his team. "We're going into unknown space to meet unknown aliens. We don't know if they're friendly or if they want to kill us. Our job is to be ready for anything." Lieutenant Sam Turner raised his hand. "Sir, what if they're more advanced than us? What if our weapons don't work on them?" Rick looked at the weapons display on the wall. The Thunderstrike carried enough firepower to destroy a small moon. Its main guns could punch holes through asteroids. Its missiles could track targets across entire solar systems. Then we learn fast and adapt. But remember, humans are good at one thing that most species probably aren't. We're good at fighting. We've been doing it for thousands of years. If these aliens are peaceful, they might not know how to handle a real fight." The hours passed slowly. The crew checked their systems again and again. The engines hummed with power. The computers calculated jump coordinates. Everyone waited. Finally, Admiral Morrison's voice came over the ship's speakers. "All hands, prepare for jump. We are about to make history." In a few minutes, we will be the first humans to visit another star system with intelligent life. Remember your training. Stay calm. Follow orders. Do your jobs. Lisa strapped herself into her chair in the science section. Around her, dozens of screens showed information about space outside the ship. Everything looked normal, but she knew that was about to change. "Jump in 10 seconds, announced Emma from the bridge. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, jump. The universe twisted. Colors that had no names flashed past the windows. Lisa felt like she was falling and flying at the same time. Then everything went quiet. "Jump complete," Emma said. "We are now in the Kepler 442 system." Lisa looked at her screens. The first thing she saw was a bright yellow star, smaller than Earth's sun, but much closer. The second thing she saw made her heart stop. "Admiral Morrison," she called over the communication system. "You need to see this." All around them, space was full of structures. Not natural structures like asteroids or moons, but built structures, cities floating in space. Ships moving between planets, massive rings around the star itself collecting energy. "My God," whispered Kate Johnson. "This civilization is huge." On the main bridge, Admiral Morrison stared at the displays showing the alien structures. There were thousands of them, maybe millions. This was not a simple alien world. This was an empire that controlled an entire star system. "Sir," said Emma, "I'm picking up communication signals. Lots of them. The aliens know we're here." Morrison felt a cold feeling in his stomach. The thunderstrike was powerful, but it was just one ship. If these aliens were hostile, if they had weapons like their cities, what are they saying? He asked. Emma listened to her equipment for a moment. Then her face went pale. "Sir, I think they're screaming." All across the alien system, sirens began to wail. The floating cities started moving away from the thunderstrike as fast as they could. Ships that had been traveling peacefully between planets suddenly changed course and fled toward the outer edges of the system. The aliens had seen the human warship, and they were terrified. Dr. Kate Johnson worked frantically at her communication station. Her hands moved across the controls as she tried to send peaceful messages to the aliens. She had studied every human language and spent years preparing for this moment. But nothing had prepared her for aliens who were already running away in fear. "I'm sending mathematical sequences," she told Captain Lisa Gray. "Basic math is supposed to be universal. 1 + 1 = 2. Simple patterns that show we can think." On the screens around them, they watched the alien ships fleeing faster and faster. The beautiful floating cities that had amazed them minutes ago were now empty shells drifting through space. Whatever lived in this system was hiding from the humans. "Are they responding?" Lisa asked. Kate shook her head. "Nothing. They're not even listening to our signals anymore. It's like they've turned off all their communication systems." Admiral Morrison arrived in the science section, his face grim. Behind him walked Commander Rick Barnes, who looked ready for a fight that might never come. "Report," Morrison said. "The aliens are evacuating everything," Lisa explained. "Every space station, every ship, every structure we can see. They're all moving away from us as fast as possible." Rick studied the tactical displays. "Sir, I'm reading some kind of energy buildup around the third planet. It looks like they're raising defensive shields." "Shields against what?" Morrison asked. "We haven't threatened them. Maybe they don't see it that way," Lisa said quietly. The Admiral looked at her with cold eyes. "Explain." "Sir, look at our ship from their point of view. We just appeared in their home system without warning. We're flying a ship that's obviously built for war. Every part of this vessel screams military. They probably think we're here to attack them." Morrison walked to the main viewing screen. The thunderstrike's reflection showed in the dark glass. Even he had to admit the ship looked threatening. Its black armor and massive weapons made it look like something from a nightmare. "That's not our fault," he said. "If they were peaceful, they would try to talk to us first." "Maybe they're too scared to talk," Kate suggested. "Some species might have evolved from prey animals. Their first instinct when facing danger would be to run and hide." Lieutenant Emma Clark's voice came over the speakers from the bridge. Admiral, we're receiving a new signal. It's very weak, but it's different from the others. Morrison and his team rushed back to the bridge. Emma was bent over her communication equipment, adjusting dials and filters. "It's not coming from this system," she said. "It's coming from somewhere much farther away. And sir, I think it's about us." "Put it on speakers," Morrison ordered. The bridge filled with strange sounds. They were obviously alien voices, but the tone was clear even without understanding the words. The aliens sounded terrified. "Can you translate any of it?" Morrison asked Kate. Kate listened carefully. "Some of it. They're using the same mathematical base as the original signal. I think they're warning other systems about us." "Warning them about what?" "About the metal deathbringers from the void. That's the closest translation I can manage." The bridge went silent. Everyone stared at the screens showing the empty alien structures around them. Somewhere in the darkness, an entire civilization was hiding from them. Chief Engineer Ryan Scott spoke up from his station. "Sir, we're detecting more ships now. Much bigger ones. They're coming from the outer edge of the system." The tactical display showed dozens of new contacts approaching. These ships were different from the small vessels that had fled earlier. They were larger, more organized, and they were moving in formation. "Are they warships?" Morrison asked. Rick studied the scanner readings. "I don't think so, sir. They don't have any weapons that I can detect, but they're definitely military formations, maybe transport ships or evacuation vessels." As they watched, the alien ships began moving in complex patterns around the planets. They were picking up the refugees from the evacuated space stations and cities. "They're saving their people," Lisa realized. "This isn't a military response. It's a rescue operation." Kate continued working on the communication signals. More messages were coming from distant stars, all in the same panicked tone. The news of humanity's arrival was spreading across space faster than they had thought possible. "Admiral," she said, "I'm picking up responses from other systems, lots of them. I think this species has friends and they're all very upset about us being here." Morrison felt the situation slipping out of control. They had come here to make peaceful contact with one alien species. Instead, they had apparently terrified an entire region of space. "Options?" he asked his officers. "We could leave," suggested Lisa. "Jump back to Earth and report what we found. Let the diplomats figure out what to do next." "Or we could stay and try harder to communicate," Kate added. "If we leave now, they'll think we were scouts for an invasion fleet." Rick had a different idea. "Sir, what if we power down our weapons? Show them we're not here to fight?" Morrison considered this. Powering down weapons in unknown space went against everything he had learned in his military career. But these aliens clearly weren't planning to attack them. "Negative," he said finally. "We don't know enough about the situation. There could be real military forces on their way." Lieutenant Sam Turner looked up from his strategic display. "Sir, we have a problem. The alien ships aren't just evacuating the system anymore. They're leaving completely." On the main screen, they could see streams of alien vessels heading toward the edge of the system. These weren't short-range evacuation ships. These were long-distance vessels designed for travel between stars. "Where are they going?" Morrison asked. "Everywhere," Sam replied. "Different groups are heading in different directions. It looks like they're scattering to other star systems." Kate made a new discovery. "Admiral, I'm detecting some kind of automated message being broadcast. It's very powerful, reaching multiple star systems at once. What does it say?" Kate worked on the translation. Her face grew pale as she figured out the meaning. "It's a general warning to all species in this region of space. It says the metal deathbringers have come to their system. It warns other species to evacuate or hide until the threat passes." The bridge went quiet again. Outside their ship, an ancient civilization was breaking apart in terror. Cities that had orbited their star for thousands of years were being abandoned. Families were being separated as they fled to different systems. "Sir," Emma said quietly, "we're also receiving signals from other star systems now. Lots of them. I think other alien species are responding to the warning." "What are they saying?" They're offering help. Ships, supplies, safe places for refugees. Sir, I think we just started the biggest refugee crisis in galactic history. Admiral Morrison stared at the screen showing the fleeing alien ships. In trying to make peaceful contact with one species, they had accidentally declared war on an entire region of space. And the worst part was, they had no idea how to fix it. The thunderstrike hung alone in space, surrounded by the empty shells of a civilization that had fled in terror at the sight of them. 3 days had passed since their arrival, and the situation was getting worse every hour. Captain Lisa Gray stood in the communication center watching Dr. Kate Johnson work with dozens of alien signals. The screens around them showed star maps, with red dots marking evacuated systems. The red dots were spreading like a disease across space. How many species are involved now? Lisa asked. Kate rubbed her tired eyes. She had not slept since they arrived. At least 40 different species, maybe more. They're all connected somehow. When one species panics, they all panic. Systems analyst Ben Parker looked up from his computer station. The ship's artificial intelligence had been working non-stop to understand the alien communications. Captain, I've been analyzing the signal patterns. These species have been working together for a very long time. Maybe thousands of years. Working together how? Trade, science, culture, everything. They share technology and resources. When our ship appeared, it wasn't just one species that got scared. It was like scaring a whole family. Admiral Morrison entered the communication center looking older than he had 3 days ago. The weight of the situation was showing on his face. Status report. Not good, sir, Lisa replied. The evacuations are spreading faster than we thought possible. Entire solar systems are being abandoned. We estimate over 50 billion aliens have left their homes because of us. Morrison stared at the star map. Each red dot represented millions or billions of lives disrupted by their presence. Any luck with communication? Kate shook her head. They won't listen to us. Every time we try to send a peaceful message, they just broadcast more warnings about us. But sir, I did make contact with one individual. Explain. A young alien from the original species we found. It calls itself Zexkala. It's curious about us rather than afraid. But it can only talk in secret. If its own people found out, they would consider it contaminated. What has it told you? Kate brought up her translation notes on the screen. This species calls themselves Zephyrians. They evolved from small prey animals like rabbits or deer. Their whole culture is built around avoiding danger and living peacefully with others. And, sir, according to Zexkala, we're the first species they've ever encountered that reached the stars while still being violent. Every other species in their alliance learned to live in peace before they developed space travel. Morrison felt a cold weight in his stomach. Are you saying we're unique? In the worst possible way, yes, sir. To them, we're like a pack of wolves that learned to fly. Spaceships. They can't understand how we got so advanced while still being warriors. Lieutenant Commander Amy Torres arrived with more bad news. She was the ship's intelligence officer and had been monitoring long-range communications. Admiral, we have a bigger problem. Some of the alien species are talking about waking up old defense systems. What kind of defense systems? I'm not sure, sir. The translations are unclear. But they keep mentioning something called the predecessor protocols. Automated systems that were shut down long ago when warfare ended in this region of space. Ben Parker's computer made a warning sound. Admiral, I'm detecting massive energy signatures from multiple star systems. Something very large is powering up. The tactical display showed dozens of red warning symbols appearing across their section of the galaxy. Whatever these predecessor systems were, they were huge and they were coming online. Commander Rick Barnes joined them from the weapons section. Sir, we need to make a decision. Do we stay and try to fix this, or do we leave before things get worse? Morrison looked around at his officers. Lisa wanted to stay and prove humanity's peaceful intentions. Kate believed she could eventually communicate with the aliens. Rick thought they should prepare for a fight. Amy worried about unknown alien weapon systems. What would happen if we left right now? Morrison asked. They would probably think we were scouts for a larger invasion, Kate replied. Our leaving might make them even more scared. And if we stay, they might activate weapons that could destroy us. Or worse, they might decide to attack Earth before we can bring more ships. Morrison was about to respond when alarms began sounding throughout the ship. Lieutenant Emma Clark's voice came over the speakers from the bridge. All officers to the bridge immediately. We have incoming contacts. They rushed to the bridge to find Emma staring at her instruments with wide eyes. Sir, we have multiple contacts approaching from different directions. They're moving faster than anything we've seen before. The main display showed dozens of objects streaking toward their position. They were not ships in any normal sense. They looked like geometric shapes made of pure energy, growing larger as they approached. Are they weapons? Morrison asked. Rick checked his tactical systems. I don't know, sir. They don't match any weapon design I've ever seen, but they're definitely artificial. Kate worked frantically at her communication station. Sir, I'm receiving a message from Zex Kala. It says the predecessor's automated guardians are awakening. These systems were built by an ancient species to protect the galaxy from violent civilizations. Protect the galaxy from what? From species like us, sir. The energy beings continued to approach. As they got closer, the humans could see they were massive. Each one was larger than the Thunderstrike. They moved with purpose and intelligence, surrounding the human ship in a perfect formation. Sir, Ben Parker announced, these systems are scanning us. They're learning everything about our ship, our weapons, our technology. Morrison felt trapped. If they fought, they would prove to the galaxy that humans were as violent as feared. If they surrendered, they might be destroyed anyway. Options, he asked his crew. We could try to communicate with them, Kate suggested. They're obviously intelligent. Or we could run, Rick added. Jump back to Earth and warn them about what's coming. Before Morrison could decide, something unexpected happened. One of the energy beings began to change. Its geometric shape became more complex, more detailed. After a few moments, it looked almost like a face made of light. When it spoke, its voice filled the bridge. The words were in perfect English. Species designation, human. Homeworld, Earth. Classification, hostile. You have violated the peace of 47 civilizations. You have caused the displacement of 53 billion individuals. Explain your actions or face extinction protocols. The bridge went silent. Every human on the ship realized they were facing something far more advanced than anything they had imagined. This ancient system had learned their language in minutes and was now judging their entire species. Morrison stepped forward. For the first time since leaving Earth, he felt truly afraid. Not just for his ship or his crew, but for humanity itself. We came in peace, he said to the being of light. We wanted to make contact with other intelligent species. We never meant to hurt anyone. Your vessel is designed for warfare. Your species has a history of violence. Your presence terrifies peaceful beings. These facts contradict your claimed peaceful intentions. Lisa stepped beside Morrison. We brought a warship because we were afraid. We didn't know what we would find out here. We were trying to protect ourselves. The energy being seemed to consider this. Around them, the other Guardian systems waited silently for orders. Fear does not justify terrorizing others. However, your admission of fear suggests you are not entirely without conscience. You will be given one chance to prove your species can change. The energy being waited for humanity's response. Admiral Morrison felt the weight of his entire species resting on his shoulders. Every decision he made now could affect billions of people back on Earth. What kind of test? He asked the ancient Guardian. You will prove your peaceful intentions through actions, not words. Power down all weapon systems. Allow representatives from the species you have frightened to board your vessel. Show them you are not the monsters they believe you to be. Commander Rick Barnes stepped forward. Sir, that's military suicide. We'd be completely defenseless. Morrison looked around his bridge. Captain Lisa Gray nodded encouragingly. Dr. Kate Johnson was already preparing translation equipment. Lieutenant Emma Clark looked scared but determined. These people trusted him to make the right choice. "If we refuse," Morrison asked the Guardian, "your ship will be destroyed. Your species will be marked as hostile and contained within your solar system forever. No human will ever travel to the stars again." The weight of the decision was crushing. Morrison had spent his entire life learning to never show weakness to potential enemies. But these aliens were not enemies. They were terrified refugees fleeing from what they saw as an invasion force. "Dr. Johnson," he said finally, "contact Zexcala. Tell it we want to meet with representatives from the affected species. Commander Barnes, begin powering down all weapon systems." Rick's face went pale. "Sir, are you sure about this?" "No, I'm not sure about anything. But we can't solve this problem by pointing guns at scared civilians." As the Thunderstrike's weapons powered down, the massive ship seemed to shrink. Without the glowing energy fields around its cannons and missile tubes, it looked less like a weapon, and more like what it really was: a ship full of scared humans who were very far from home. The Energy Guardians watched as the human warship made itself defenseless. After several minutes, the lead Guardian spoke again. "Your compliance is noted. Prepare to receive guests." Over the next few hours, small alien ships began approaching the Thunderstrike. Each one carried representatives from different species that had fled in terror. The first to arrive was Zexcala, the young Zephyrian who had been secretly talking to Kate. When the airlock opened, Lisa was surprised by what she saw. Zexcala looked like a tall, thin deer that walked on two legs. Its large eyes were filled with curiosity rather than fear. Behind it came representatives from other species, crystalline beings that sparkled like diamonds, aquatic creatures in water-filled suits, and energy beings similar to the Guardians, but much smaller. "Welcome aboard," Lisa said, trying to sound as peaceful as possible. Zexcala translated her words for the others. The reaction was immediate. Several aliens stepped backward in fear. The crystalline beings began vibrating with what Kate recognized as distress signals. "They're afraid of our voices," Kate realized. "We sound aggressive to them even when we're trying to be friendly." Ben Parker had an idea. "What if we let the ship's computer do the talking? The AI can adjust its voice to sound less threatening." The ship's AI began speaking in soft, gentle tones that seemed to calm the aliens slightly. Through careful translation, the humans began to understand just how much damage they had caused. The Zephyrians had abandoned 3 entire star systems. The crystalline Vortans had shattered their great singing crystals in their panic to escape. The aquatic Nereidans had poisoned their own water supplies rather than let the metal Deathbringers contaminate them. "We never meant for any of this to happen," Lisa explained through the translator. "We were just as scared as you were. We didn't know what we would find out here." Zexcala spoke for its people. "Your ship carries enough weapons to destroy entire worlds. How could you claim to come in peace?" Morrison joined the group in the ship's main meeting room. "Because sometimes the only way to protect peace is to be strong enough to defend it. On our world, there are people who would hurt others if no one stopped them. The aliens found this concept difficult to understand. In their experience, species that became violent usually destroyed themselves before reaching the stars. The idea of controlled violence for protective purposes was foreign to them. That's when everything changed. Alarms began sounding throughout the ship. Emma's voice came over the speakers. "Admiral, we have a massive problem. The ancient Guardian systems are malfunctioning." Everyone rushed to the bridge. The displays showed chaos throughout the local region of space. The predecessor Guardians were not just protecting the peaceful species anymore. They were attacking them. "What's happening?" Morrison demanded. Ben Parker worked frantically at his computer. "Sir, the Guardian systems were activated too quickly. They were dormant for thousands of years. When they woke up and detected our ship, they classified everything in the area as potentially hostile. On the screens, they could see Guardian systems destroying evacuated space stations, thinking they were abandoned military bases. The ancient weapons were attacking refugee ships, mistaking them for invasion fleets. They're trying to sterilize the entire region," Kate realized in horror. "They think everything here is contaminated by our presence. The alien representatives began panicking again, but this time their fear was not directed at the humans. Their own ancient protectors had turned against them. Morrison made a decision that would define humanity's place in the galaxy forever. All stations, battle ready. We're going to stop those Guardians before they kill everyone. Sir, Rick protested. Our weapons are powered down. Then power them back up. Fast. As the Thunderstrike's weapons came online, the aliens on the bridge watched in amazement. The humans were preparing to fight the very systems that were supposed to protect the galaxy from them. Why are you doing this? Zexkala asked. These systems are trying to destroy us because of you. You could escape and leave us to die. Morrison looked at the young alien. Because that's not who we are. Yes, we're warriors. Yes, we know how to fight. But we fight to protect people, not to hurt them. The battle that followed was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The Thunderstrike charged directly at Guardian systems that were thousands of years more advanced. The human ship took tremendous damage as it systematically disabled one ancient weapon after another. But the humans had something the Guardians didn't expect: the willingness to sacrifice themselves for strangers. As the Thunderstrike's armor was torn apart by energy beams, the crew continued fighting to save alien civilians they had never met. Lisa coordinated damage control teams. Kate translated between human and alien communication systems to coordinate rescue efforts. Rick fired weapons with surgical precision, disabling Guardians without destroying them completely. Emma kept communication lines open between the Thunderstrike and fleeing refugee ships. When the last Guardian was disabled, the Thunderstrike was barely functioning. Half its systems were destroyed. Its hull was cracked in dozens of places, but it had saved millions of alien lives. As rescue ships arrived to help the damaged human vessel, Zexkala spoke to Morrison one last time. We understand now, it said. You are warriors, but you are good warriors. You use your strength to protect instead of conquer. Morrison smiled for the first time since leaving Earth. That's all we ever wanted to be. Months later, Captain Lisa Gray stood in the first human embassy in Zephyrian space. Through the windows, she could see human and alien ships working together to rebuild what had been damaged. The galaxy had learned that humans were dangerous, but they had also learned that humans would fight to defend others. Admiral Morrison was back on Earth, training new officers in what he called protective warfare, the art of using military power to defend rather than attack. And in the deep reaches of space, the Thunderstrike had become a legend among peaceful species as the ship that fought ancient gods to save strangers. Humanity had found its place in the galaxy at last, not as conquerors or diplomats, but as guardians.